Yeah, obviously excited about the win. Defense controlled the game start to finish. Didn't really give them anything running or passing the whole entire day. Very consistent. Did a lot of good things. Had some guys out over there. Had some other guys step up. Special teams. Obviously, the block punt early is huge. Sets the tone. We got stopped on fourth down. Defense goes out there and does a great job and gets a 3 and out. And then we block a punt, scoop and score. Kellen was dominant on kickoff the whole day, which not only sets up field position but also takes a bunch of hits off good players that you have on your kickoff team that they don't have to run down there and crash into people. So it does a lot for your team. Punting game was really good. I thought Lionel did a good job fielding some tough punts on punt return, so we did a lot of good things on ST. Offensively, ran the ball, threw the ball efficiently. Too inconsistent at times. They're probably of the three groups the least consistent, although defense and ST still had their moments of inconsistency too. But just too many opportunities offensively that we didn't execute in key situations. And again, better. We're getting better. Obviously, different opponent than we played, but we're doing more things the right way. We're trying to do things the right way. Our kids are really, obviously, Hank stepping in, doing a great job, leading our offense and giving ourselves a chance almost on every down. So, again, guys out on offense too and other guys stepping up. And so just overall good victory and a lot of positives. There's still plenty of stuff. We're a long way from being a finished product, but we're definitely heading in the right direction. And I wish we had a few more weeks before conference start to keep getting better, but now it's upon us. And obviously, with Northern Illinois, you got a great opponent, one of the elite teams in the MAC year in, year out. If you go over the last 20 years, you talked about the Northerns and Westerns and Toledos and Buffaloes and OUs, are all the teams that, year in, year out. They're going to, any given year they could be the best team in the league. So they've had a difficult schedule off the jump, played some very competitive games. Coach does a great job, ex-running back at Northern, ex-NFL running back, ex-NFL running back coach. Like, they run the ball, they play defense, they play great on special teams. Like, they do a lot of the things that we try to espouse to do on a weekly basis. They always have great backs, they always have a great O-line, and they always fly around on defense with a bunch of great athletes. So going on the road, week one in conference right off the bat, continues our challenging schedule, but I know we'll be excited to go play them. You play a great team at their place on the road with a lot at stake. So we gotta continue to have a good week this week and keep getting better and keep trying to clean up our own mistakes and keep being more consistency in all three phases.
Would you like to say anything about Andrew? He really seems to have a nose for the ball, whether it's through experience or whatever, but he and I guess, linebackers, it really helps to have that kind of a sense and get in the right places.
Yeah, so Corbin's been a big part of what we've been doing. He's always been our starter in our third down packages, like you alluded to. Nose for the football in the pass game has been amazing. I don't know how many interceptions he has in his career, but for a linebacker, he probably got 7-8 interceptions in his career, and for a linebacker, that's almost unheard of. Obviously, two a week ago. So just has always had some instincts in the pass game that he has that you really can't coach. Just he's always been instinctual. And then this year, obviously, taking a much more major role as a starting linebacker for us on an every down basis, and we have a great rotation in there. We have a lot of good backers that we're rotating through, but he's had the lion's share of the duties and just more and more physical and more aggressive in the run game. And he's playing, like I said 2 weeks ago, he's playing his best football he's ever played here, which you expect out of senior, but really proud of him. And again, he's a microcosm of who we try to be on a daily basis. If you want to know what I would say, you want to know what Miami football looks like, follow Corbin Hondrew around for a day, and that's what we're trying to look like. We don't always hit our mark, but Corbin does just about every day of how he approaches things professionally, his leadership, what he does off the field as a student, what he does off the field as a person, how does he treat people, how hard does he work, what are the sacrifices that he makes. Everything we talk about trying to be, Corbin does every day, and he's been awesome in this program for a long time.
With such a new and young O-line, I know you've talked about that a couple of times, what's it been like having a new face on the offense with the quarterback switch these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's pretty seamless just because Hank's been here so long and those guys been around him, and probably in some regards more used to him than DQ just because they've had more practice reps with him, and so just two quarterbacks, young O-line, but the communication continues to get better and better between the two groups, and the consistency up there is not where we need it yet, but it is way better. If you watch a Wisconsin game and looked at what we were trying to do, and you come 3 weeks later and you watch the Vegas game, and then you watch this game, like, we're getting better and better up there. We're doing more and more good things, and like I keep telling everybody, like, we have good enough ability if we execute. Like, if you don't execute mentally or physically, then you don't let your ability shine out there. It's not for us. It's we believe in our guys. I just want them to play their best every down, and when they do, they're pretty good. So, like, trying to get them to understand that the little things and the details, and the offense line has done a really good job of that from week one, understanding, like, okay, this is how you have to play in a game. You can't do too much. You can't do too little. At times in Wisconsin, we were trying to do way too much, and was like, what are you doing? Like, I was trying to block him, and him. Then there's other times, like, what are you doing? Like, you're back on your heels, and you're catching, and you're not. So they've, through game experience, and again, like we always talk about the scheduling early, like it'll wake you up. Like, if you're not on your mark and you go to Wisconsin, they got a pretty ornery D-line, they got LSU transfer detail, like you're going to look bad. And at times we did, but again, great opportunity for growth, and those kids with Coach Patton's guidance have really, every week there's market improvement, but there's they're just going in their 5th game start, and they still got a lot of growth, and they know that, and if they embrace that, they'll keep getting better.
Coach, you had a bunch of new starters on defense last week with a couple guys out. How do you think the defense played, considering the opponent compared to other games? Yeah,
we are more consistent in what we were trying to do. And again, was that just keep learning? Was that because we had more confidence? Same thing on defense, talking about offense. Like, sometimes we're too on our heels, which was second half of UNLV. First half of UNLV, we're not on our heels, And then sometimes we're trying to do too much, So you got guys that are trying to do too much, and you guys that are, like I say, you're doing too little. You're not taking the fight to them, And you learn it. Like, so we were on our heel. We were not on our heels at all during Lindenwood. Now, is that because we're watching tape and we're feeling good about ourselves? What I mean? You're looking at different quality opponents. So. But we also didn't have guys not doing their job. So it was the cleanest game defense. There's still mistakes, but yes, we're alert, we're aggressive, we're on our toes, we're trying to take the fight to Lindenwood, not let them take the fight to us, and then also playing within the system, and that's getting better and better every week, and it should continue to grow as they learn that, hey, this looks good. Well, everybody just did their job. The Eli Coppice interception, perfect example, like, outside leverage, guy tries outside lease, shouldn't be able to do it, so he squeezes them. He's got his hand on him, squeezes them. He's in good shape, looks back. Because he squeezed him off his line, the ball ends up being inside, not outside. If he doesn't squeeze him off his line, it's probably a perfect pass. Everybody thinks all the interceptions are always on the quarterback. Sometimes the receivers have something to do with it. But he turns back and he goes in high points football. Like, it's like textbook start to finish, from your alignment to where your eyes were, to your technique down the field, to your technique finish. Like, there was like 4 phases to the play, and he was good all of them, and lo and behold, it works out. Like, and it's like the perfect lesson that, when you do things right and you're calm and poised, you give yourself a chance for success, And there's lots of examples of that. But through 4 weeks, there's lots of examples the other way, where we're off the reservation and guessing and doing our own stuff and trying to make plays, and that's what young guys try to do. They try to make plays, and they come from high school. It's what they did. They made plays in high school. Did they always play with technique and, discipline? No, they didn't have to, because they overwhelmed their opponents. So there's a lot of good teaching with the good. There's also good teaching with the bad.
Do you have hopes of getting some guys back in the lineup this week, even if it's just for some more snaps?
Yes, no. Like I said last week, although there was a rash of injuries and none of them were like great, there was nothing long term. And then as a week, you just never know. I always say it, people think it's coach speak. You really don't know, like Monday, how it's going to progress. We had some kids not play last week in the game, but they really progressed, like quicker than probably even, look at them Sunday. Even the doctors and trainers don't know exactly how quickly this thing's going to turn around. Some things turn around, you can have an ankle injury and it could be 4 to 6 weeks. You have an ankle injury, it could be 1 to 2 weeks. And a lot of times on Sunday, Monday, we don't really know that until we start rehabbing them and see how it goes day to day. So we were fortunate that nothing was long term, although we had guys miss the game. You never want that. but we also fortunate because we had a lot of guys killing in rehab with Paul and his staff, and like we're a lot closer to playing Saturday than we thought they would be on Sunday, which now gives them a better chance, to your question, like a better chance to get back this week. So we're hopeful to get, like you said, either full-time status or even take some reps off somebody else, part-time status. So, yeah, again, we had some injuries. We lost a bunch of guys in the middle of the game at UNLV, which stinks, but it's been pretty good news since then. So we're excited, we're excited where we're at, and hopefully get, there's definitely, for the Rosies and Caleb's and DQ, they're very, very, very optimistic that they'll play some or all of the game this week.
You were in a position late in the game where you could just kind of turn to Brunson, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him. I got a really nice picture of him depositing a defensive back on on the ground. Is he somebody or Ringer that you think could come in and be helpful as you go into MAC play?
No doubt, no doubt. Ringer can do all the jobs like Kenny. He's going to continue to be impactful for us, and Jordan showing his ceiling, and the way he's capable of running. And there's other things like every position, every player, every time I talk, the consistency at which he operates in our entire offense is getting better and better, so he can be a weapon for us, no doubt. Like, I think DeShante and Tito are coming too. Like, these guys all can help us as the long season goes on, like you alluded to, and he showed a lot of what he could do Saturday as far as being a big physical back, and he's fast too. So we're definitely be thinking about continue ways to get him involved and help us win games.
Coach, I think one of the most interesting thing about this matchup is Bill Mallory. You just talk a little bit about the history, him being at a couple schools, and just the impact he had here.
Yeah, I say the same pretty bit. Like, I was fortunate enough to get to know Bill when I got here. They had the Mallory men golf outing, and they got to know not only him, but a lot of his players and his family and his wife. I did know some of his kids previously through coaching, but I've got to know them a lot better since I got to Miami. I would say of all the legendary coaches, I would say Bill Mallory is the most highly thought of coach that ever came through Miami, because you're talking Bo and Woody and Aaron Pont and Red Blake and now McVay and Harbaugh. So it's a crazy list. And Bill had a wonderful career, but I would say, like, if you had the history of Miami, he had the most success at Miami. Like, our 3-year run was his recruits, and he left during the 3-year. The 3 straight major bowl victories against SEC, ACC teams. We beat Power 4 teams, and not like now, because now you play in these other bowls that you play some Power 4 teams, but you're playing the middle to the bottom of their league. They were playing top 10 teams in the SEC and ACC and won 3 straight bowl games and whatever, 31-1 or whatever. It was crazy, whatever, 32-1 And that was Mallory, that was the Mallory men. That was the greatest generation. And again, of a long storied history, not knocking any of the other prior to Mallory or post Mallory. We've had a lot of amazing teams here and a lot of amazing players, from Ben Roethlisberger. And you can go on, but that 3-year run has never been duplicated, and hard cry to do. I would love to do it, but I like to be unrealistic, but that's pretty amazing. And he was the architect of that. And so his impact on Miami football is, probably surpasses Bo, Woody, Aaron, some of the guys that left and went on to do. And Bill obviously went to Colorado and then Northern Illinois and then Indiana. And he did some amazing, up until last year, his greatest runs in Indiana history were Bill Mallory. So means a lot to the people at Northern, because the respect they have for him and his family. And then obviously it means a lot to the people at Miami because of all the respect we have for him and his family. So it's a really cool, there's a lot of cool things in sports. The Mallory Cup is one of the cool things because both sides sharing their love and admiration for him and his family. So it makes it very rare that in the league a guy would coach at 2 different spots and have 6. So it's pretty unique and pretty cool to be a part of.
I know that last year we also started with 3 losses, but we obviously saw that had no real impact on conference play. What are some lessons from those first 3 losses that you think that you're going to take into conference play this year?
Well, there's a couple things. Is that it's a long season, and if if you have losses, there's a reason you have losses, and you have to correct those. Just like we were talking last week, like Lindenwood's not going to correct our problems. We have to correct our problems. Like, if you think Lindenwood's going to correct our problems are still going to be there. The things we didn't do well the first 3 weeks that were correctable, some of it had to do with we were playing good people and they were hard to cover, hard to tackle, whatever. But some of it had to do with us. So we went in the trap last year, went to UMass and thought UMass was going to correct our problems, because like, okay, we beat UMass last year, we can beat them. They're not Notre Dame or whatever, and UMass came in here and kicked our tails. We were very fortunate to escape with a very narrow victory. So way better approach this year. That's even lessons we learned from last year. Like, a lesser opponent doesn't fix your mistakes. You have to fix your mistakes, So, and then two, just a long season, and our older guys know we're going to keep getting better because we're going to stay together. We're going to fight together. We're not going to flinch. We're not going to blame. We're not going to, if the player makes a mistake, we're going to correct the mistake and make sure he knows what he needs to do better. But that's on the coach too, right? Because I'm coaching you. So that's on the position coach. Ultimately, it's on me. Like, UNLV drives me nuts because those are things that good teams don't do in key situations, and my team did it. Well, that's my job. Like, that's my only job, is get these kids to play their best ability. And through 4 weeks, we've improved a bunch, but we're still not there. So my job isn't close to being finished. My job is keep pushing and challenge these kids to do as many things right as they can on and off the field every day so that they can have success. And that's all, I'm kind of a pain in there, what? And sometimes they don't, I'm a nag. Well, I'm nagging you to be great. Like, it's not. When you're great later in life because of the lessons you learned playing college football and being a student athlete at Miami University, okay, that's your life. You're going to have a successful, happy life. And I always say, like, the people that don't create the good habits and figure out how to do things right all the time and outwork people and make sacrifices and don't mope around and don't pout when things don't go their way, well, those are the ones that typically don't have very much success in life. I say you don't luck into success. You work hard for it. And sometimes you work really hard and you still don't get it. So we're going to keep pushing, and we've got a great history of our team getting better as the year goes on. Does that mean that, like, and I tell these kids, that doesn't mean you're going to. Like, the reason those kids kept getting better is they kept working. And they kept trying harder, and they kept making sacrifices, they kept listening, they kept learning. They didn't. It's not because we have some magical dust there at Miami that my teams get better all the time. It's the kids put in the work, and the coaches keep working hard with the kids. And if we do that, there's no way you don't get better. It's impossible not to get better if you keep practicing every day to try to get better. How do you not get better? So it sounds so easy, but when you're not having a success like you alluded to, it's hard when you're 0-3. And it's hard when you have some gut-wrenching losses. It's hard when you everyone around you is in your ear. It's hard. There's a lot of noise out there, but you can listen to that, or you can just keep your head down and keep working. Because if you do that, like I said, you go in the weight room and you work hard, you're going to get stronger. Like, you show up to work every day during the season and you work harder. How are you not better week 7 than week 4? How are you not better week 4 than week 1? How are you not better week 10? Because you stop working, because you stop trying, because you stop caring. So it's again, sounds so simple, but it's hard when things don't go your way.
NIU, San Diego State, came down to several field goals. If, as you like to say, your defense is on their business, wouldn't this look like a chance for people who appreciate defense to see a couple good defenses this week? Yeah,
no doubt. They've played tremendous defense. They always play tremendous defense. They always play super hard. They always play downhill. They always play aggressive. They got multiple schemes. They do a great job, and they've done a great job, obviously, holding San Diego State to 6 points. And San Diego State just hung 34 on California the week before. So when you hang 34 on Cal, and then NIU holds you basically to 6, obviously pretty good on defense. And hopefully we continue to progress on defense and continue to play well. And they could be, I don't know, you never know how it plays out, but could be a low-scoring, knockdown, drag-out game. That doesn't surprise me at all.